So this is a little animation of an invention of mine I've been thinking of, and it's probably not the first of its kind, one of a kind. I've seen many other inventions that use the tide. I haven't seen one exactly like this. There might be others. Anyways, so basically what it is so this is the ocean, and this is the tide going up and down. And as you can see, as the tide goes up and down, these little reservoirs fill up with water and are subsequently pressed down by this big block of these presses. And it basically pushes the water through these pipes up into this water tank. And it could be used potentially for power plant energy. You can use it for water desalination with a semi-permeable membrane, um, or other things. Some of the advantages to this system compared to what I've seen is that it doesn't use the waves, it uses the tide. So on a calm day, as long as there's a tide, it should still work. It's close to shore, so the construction cost should be a lot easier. It should be a lot more manageable. Um, it's not limited by the height of the tide. A lot of tidal power plants that I've seen require a certain height of the tide in order for it to be efficient. And because these reservoirs are below ground, as long as the water reaches this and fill up with water, um, it should be able to work. And it is variable configurations. You can change this to, instead of two, you could just do one with larger surface area, or a bunch of these, like 20 or whatever would be needed. Um, some of the challenges to this would be rust, and there are things to combat rust, things like galvanization. You could use I think it's called sacrificial anode or cathode, or something that rusts instead of the pipes. Um, Another problem would be buildup from microorganisms, microbials along the pipes, things like that. And I think that could be combated if you somehow made this somewhat of a closed system that only allowed water to get through, or at least a much more closed off system as possible. Um, and another issue that has come up with a lot of tidal power generation is that uh, sometimes the tide is lower or higher than the demands are, and so there's challenges meeting demands. And that's what this water tank is good for. It creates an emergency supply, and could potentially produce water, energy or fresh water as well. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this. Thanks.